just before we start, So Modern Bags is having a sale until March 20th, and it's 88% off. You get 22 bag patterns for $23.99 US, which comes out to 34 and a few pennies Canadian.
Right.
And the one I'm working on, this passion flower tote, is in there, and that cost me $13.50 last weekend.
Wow.
And there's
so
21.
Tell me again who it is.
It's So Modern Bags, but if you go on Blue Calla Patterns,
yes,
Celine has an affiliate there, and you can just click on her affiliate.
Okay.
And it takes you to So Modern Bags, and you can, if you're interested in bags, you can purchase them there. And there's some really nice ones there.
Oh, okay.
And you're pleased with the instructions and the
she's
pattern
fabulous.
and all that. Oh, Diane's got a friend saying hello. Hello, Diane's friend.
No, the pattern instructions are fabulous.
Clear.
A lot of them come with videos.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So there'll be like 3- and 4-part videos for cutting out, preparation, sewing, finishing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bags are on my hit list this year too. So
it's well supported.
Good.
And she carries all the fabrics and hardware that you can make, but you can also get them through Emmeline Bags in Calgary.
Yeah, I've got their link. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I've written that down. Everybody, welcome to Sew with Liz Club March 2023. And what I've got there are 2 quilts that I just recently finished. I took them with me last week to a quilting/sewing retreat. I did quite a lot of bra sewing, but I took these along because they've been hanging on my quilt wall just to the left, right of me here. And honestly, they've been up there since before the pandemic, which is really very shameful. So I took them down and I trimmed them at the retreat and put the binding on. So now they are done. They're very, very long runners. Table runners, bed scarves, if you feel like having fruit in the bedroom, whatever. And there are 2 of them. All right, moving along. Remember, ladies, no question is a silly question. I like to always point that out. And then for the machine embroidery people amongst us, I have recently made those little green and yellow luggage tags because my tickets are booked for South Africa. And on the back of the tag, I had some plastic, very unusual stuff. I bought it once in a store in Alberta. And I think what it was supposed to be for, let's just admit, Sonia, and what it was supposed to be for was when you hoop up your hoop, and you want it to be really sturdy so it doesn't slip, you can hoop up this plastic that's got like thread in a grid, it's sort of inside the plastic. And I've never really ever used it for that, but it was serving the purpose for the little back pocket on my luggage tag, and I will put my address label in there. So anyway, we got new luggage tags. They have also, a bunch of them have also gone to Saskatchewan, because that's one of the things in my machine embroidery class there that I will be showing the ladies how to do. Also, we will be doing this little round baggie, which came from Designs in Machine Embroidery. And I sewed that up. It's fully lined. And I sent that through to Saskatchewan as well last week. So if anybody wants this design, I do believe that I mentioned it on one of the other Sew with Liz clubs. And if by any chance you didn't get to watch it, and maybe the design is no longer on their website or something, just let me know and I will send it to you. But when you let me know, just let me know what embroidery file format you need, because I downloaded all of them. So I'll just send you the one that you need. All right, that little baggie, the round one, I've used it for medication. It's just a small little thing in my bag. It's not like a big pill box or something. It's great as a change purse. You know, there's a myriad of things you can put in there. Your earphones, you know, your earbuds, they can go in there too. And I like to put a little loop on it so that if I want to, I can hang it on the handle of my purse or my bag. Okay, so that was just a little something for machine embroidery people. Here's a little more. These have also all gone to Saskatchewan. the bag on the top right, I guess I'll have to make another one because I want to have hands-free traveling. I'm going to do a lot of walking when I'm in London for a few days. My son and daughter-in-law and the kids are going to be away in Devon. So I am going to do all manner of things like fabric shops. Nobody is surprised. And I know I will do a lot of walking. So I think I want hands-free. So I'll make another one of those that goes around my waist. And all of the others are just little zipper baggies. We're also going to do those in my class in Saskatchewan. And so while we're on that, I wanted to mention that the Saskatchewan Stitches Conference is happening again this year in June. I will be there for a week, a whole week actually. I'm going to do a bra design and draft course so that I can design my own bra patterns and certainly be better at altering patterns after that. And let's just see, we had something in the chat box. Oh yes, it was Diane telling us it was your son. Okay, all right. The Saskatchewan Stitches Conference has got hybrid classes with some of the teachers and has got just in-person classes for some of them. The ice dyeing class that I'm doing is not a hybrid class because we actually have to be there doing it together. But I think all my other classes are hybrid classes. So you might want to go and have a look. Just go to houseofstitches.ca and all the classes are there. And not just my classes, there's loads of classes. And I'm just giving a little bit of a promo because I think she is hoping to close bookings for the classes sometime in April. She usually does it towards the end of April, and that's so that we as teachers know how many kits to prepare and get those shipped in May to Saskatchewan so that they're all ready for the classes at the beginning of June. So in any event, I thought I'd mention that because honestly, I don't think, except for that 1 year when it was canceled with the pandemic, I have not missed one of these conferences for the last 15 or 16 years. And I do believe it's the 20th or the 21st anniversary this year. So it's a fabulous thing. I love going. All righty. Next one. Whoops, we went backwards. So let's go forwards. A reminder, I did mention this last month that embroidery and the websites are coming up on the next slide. These two ladies, very Afrikaans ladies in South Africa, and they get up at some ridiculous hour of the night so that we're watching their webinars and their presentations at a reasonable hour here in North America. I don't know how they do it, but they've got like over 800 people watching their videos and so on. So, and they've only been going for less than 2 years. So I don't know what their secret is, but it's some secret. I think part of it is that they're creating some really cool stuff. It's not same old, and we talked about this last month. I did not attend this webinar. It was only $5, but I just knew that I wasn't going to have the time to do it. So you can go back and purchase it at a later stage from what I can understand. But I think that's really cool. And they show you how to group them in the hoop so that you've got long lines of them that you can then stitch. All right, this one I did attend, this one with the little zipper baggies with the fringe flowers on them. That was a free one, and I attended that some months back. I think it must have been October or November. And the name is Beyond the Frame Embroidery.com. And just as I must tell you, I'm not getting anything for promoting this. Okay, I'm only telling you because I think they're well worth it. These ones are free, and they have a whole lot of little embroidery tutorials with the design that are free. This is one of the free ones, and I made 2 of them and gave them to my daughter's nieces for Christmas, and I put all sorts of little things in them that the mother was probably not very charmed about me putting in there, like candy, but whatever, they got candy from me. All right. And the other one, if you want to look for the actual embroidery designs to purchase, go to Embroider Shop, not Embroidery Shop. I was looking and looking and looking, and then I realized, no, it's Embroider Shop with the old-fashioned spelling of shop. And their designs are actually not that expensive. When I compare them to a company like Sweet Pea Designs, I think they're very reasonably priced. And that's not to say anything bad about Sweet Pea. I buy their designs. I have an affiliate link that if anybody wants, they can get from me. I love their designs, but these ladies have got a cool thing going, and I don't think their designs are expensive. But I wanted to ask, did anybody attend the one where they showed you how to, what was the one I told you last time they were going to do? Oh, it was all the little feathers and things they were going to join together. Did anybody attend that one? No. Okay. All right. Just mentioning it in case you're interested. There was the little daisy chain. I do have that design. I downloaded it with the tutorial. But if you want to go back and watch it, it's there on the Beyond the Frame embroidery. That one was a free one. And I think it's really cute. I think we could use that on our bras, ladies. I really do. And I think because some of us are quite clever, all right, we could reduce the size of those daisies to have them quite small for our bras, and we could make our own lace trim. Okay, there's an example on the left of one of the designs in their embroider shop. A very cute little raw edge applique design. All right, so hints or sewing tips for the month. So I picked up a few of these, and I thought I'd share them with you because we're always looking for ways to make things easier and quicker for us in the sewing room. So the first one is, if you get confused with your machine needles, now sometimes I do, because I think that writing on the needle is so tiny that unless I've taken it out of the package and I've made a note of what needle is in my machine, or I stick it into a pin cushion, there's no way I can remember later what that needle is. So if you take different nail color polishes, you can put a little dab of that on your needle as some sort of a color coding system for yourself so that you know what needle you have in the machine. All right, just up at the top, not obviously anywhere down near where the needle goes into the fabric. So that was tip number one. Tip number two, in the middle, those little brushes, you may or may not have seen them at the dollar store. They are very inexpensive. I think you get 5 or 6 of them in a little baggie for $1 something. My dollar stores here have now gone up to $1.50, which was no big surprise. But $1.50 for those little brushes, they are the best for getting in and cleaning in the bobbin area. So I've actually got quite a few of these now, and I just keep them in my drawer next to my machine here. So I thought I'd mention that. You don't have to go buying expensive sewing machine brushes. These little ones, I think they're in the makeup section, somewhere there in the dollar store, because I think they're supposed to be for your eyebrows or your mascara or something. But they were great brow sewing.
They're called disposable mascara brushes.
There you go. Thank you, Anne. All right, disposable mascara brushes at the dollar store and very cheap. All right, and I believe they come in all sorts of different colors if that is an issue to you. Then the other day, I had my ladies here doing their last bra lingerie class with me. And one of them is very, very allergic to elastic and polyester. So what we did with her was we made little tubes of linen. So she cut it on the bias because she wanted a little bit of give in the linen. And then we had to feed her elastic into the linen tube so that she could then put that on her bra and she wouldn't have any elastic touching her skin. It was quite the learning curve for me, I can tell you. She was on the learning curve of learning how to sew the bra. For me, it was a learning curve of how do we do this differently from the way I do it when I make my bras. So what we didn't have a loop turner, And I looked and looked and looked for the fancy one that I got from Jennifer Tryon, and I couldn't find it. I have since found it, but then I couldn't find it. So we just got a safety pin. And you know what? That safety pin works just as well for feeding your elastic through your tube, whatever tube you're going to make, whether it's for bra straps or some other purpose. Okay.
That would work really well if you put silk as well on the bias.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I didn't have any silk, but I had lawn, and I offered her the lawn, and I offered her the linen, but she decided she wanted the linen. So yeah, but you're right, silk would work nicely too.
Silk would be lovely.
Yeah. One thing that I have noticed, and this is an aside, is that when we cut the bra straps from fabric, which the Sahara bra and the Freya bra ask us to do, that we've done in the previous courses that I've run, I am finding that that small one, I don't like it. It cuts into my shoulders. I really don't like it very much. So what I'm now doing is I'm cutting the wider one. And then I also had a query from one of the ladies in the virtual sewing lingerie sewing retreat. She wants to make her straps wider. And she said to me, how do I do that? So I said, well, you can just take the pattern piece for the large one, or you can figure out how wide you want your bra strap to be, double that because you're going to be folding it over and sewing a seam, and then add 1/2 inch for your seam, 1/4 inch. And you can then make your bra strap as wide as you want it, okay, with the fabric part here. And I also mentioned to her that if she found that it was digging into her, she could always stabilize the fabric with an interfacing, or she could use cut and sew foam inside that fabric bra strap, which I do believe is what Ruhi does with her Ruby's bras that she makes as custom bras. Okay, and now we come to pin tucks. All right, so I do have some nighties and things that I will show you in a bit, but I wanted first of all to talk about the tools that we need for doing pin tucks, and then I'm going to show you at the machine how to do pin tucks. Now, this does not have to be an heirloom sewing technique. It's very much part of, it is very much part of heirloom sewing. However, you could do pin tucks down a cotton blouse, either side of the button band. You could do them on a nightgown, which might not necessarily be a heirloom sewing nightgown. There's just many, many places that you can do pin tucks. So I'm going to talk about the various things as we go. But you will see on my screen now, at the top, I have got 2 different pin tuck feet. One is the N1 foot for Janome, and the other one is the N2 foot for Janome. And I'm just going to show you with my little cursor. If you counted the grooves, this is the underside of the foot. If you count the grooves here, there's 7 grooves. And I'll show you why we need 7 and not just 1. And this one here, if you counted them, there are 9 grooves. That's how Janome does it. They have one where you can get larger pin tucks, and there's 7 of them. And then this one is for much finer pin tucks. All right. And so you've got 2 options. Then we have a toothpick, and I will show you what you do with the toothpick. And below that, we have the FAF pin tuck foot, and that's the foot that I'm going to use on the machine, simply because it's a smaller machine. My sewing machine is over here, and it's awfully big, and my camera is not exactly set up to be plugged into my computer and looking at that machine. I'd have to reconfigure everything. So that's why we're going to do it on my FAF, and it does a lovely job of pin tucks. Now, I'm going to tell you, ladies, that pin tucks are not something that I do every week. I actually was trying to work out when I last did pin tucks, and it's an awful long time ago. However, it's a good technique to have in your tool belt in case you want to use it. There's no reason why you can't use it to pretty up a little piece of fabric that you then use to make a little zipper baggie from. You know, the Pentax can be used for all sorts of things. Little girls' clothing, nightgowns, you name it. And pillows, cushions. Pentax look lovely on those as well. Now, what is this little red thing at the bottom of my screen? That actually comes, and it was the bane of my life when I worked for FAF, because everybody lost this little item and was always then wanting to know the part number and how to order another one. It's a tiny little thing, and it fits into the needle plate of the FAF. Your machine may not have this. Doesn't matter. We're going to use the toothpick. The toothpick works just as well. All right. So there we have. Let me just look now and find this little red thing. I bet you. No, I have not lost it. Amazingly, I have it. All right. So I am going to switch to the next slide and show you two little heirloom sewn outfits that I have made. The one on the left is a nightgown. It goes all the way down to halfway between my knees and my ankles. This fabric at the top here was poly lawn. It's very fine, very soft, beautiful fabric. I made several smocked dresses and things out of that. I bought it in South Africa many, many years ago, and I don't have any left now. At the bottom, in other words, below the gathering on the yoke, that is 100% cotton lawn. And it is so fine and soft. It is just gorgeous. But it creases like crazy. And you can see that I've got a gazillion gathers there. So to get into bed with that nightie, it's not long and the whole nightie's wrapped around my legs. So it's pretty to look at, but I don't really wear it very often. But it was quite the heirloom masterpiece when I did make it. And we're going to see how to do these pin tucks that are either side of the Swiss embroidered lace in the middle of the bodice. This other photograph on the right, we've got more pin tucks there, and you can see they look more pronounced. And they are, because this is 100% lawn cotton fabric, and this one here was polyester. And you will always get a difference in your sewing when you use a cotton and when you use a polyester. Polyester doesn't hold a memory, which is why it doesn't crease as much as cottons do. So here we've got laces, we've got a beading lace with ribbon through it, and pin tucks. Right. So, you can also do smocking. Smocking is another heirloom technique, and you certainly could add pin tucks to that. On the left-hand side, that pillow cover is all done on the serger. So you can actually do pin tucks. These things here are pin tucks done on the serger with a rolled hem. That is a whole nother ball game, which we can get into at some stage. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I am going to go, I'll answer your question now. I'm going to go over to the camera. Yes, Karen.
On the serger sample,
yes,
the very far right stitch, it looked like little beads. Were those beads, or is that a stitch type? What was that?
No, that was beading done on the serger.
Oh, it was beads. Okay,
yes,
thank
with
you.
The beading foot on the serger.
Okay.
Yeah. Not very practical for a garment, really, because especially a nightie, they dig into you, but pretty on a pillow.
And just as an aside, I did a talk probably a few months ago that did pin tucking just from the shoulder down, probably, I don't know, I did them staggered like 3 inches, and then the next one 4 inches, and the next one maybe 5, something like that. I've had so much feedback. It's just a t-shirt, like it's just a t-shirt.
And then it gives you some gathers below the pin tucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, and people comment like, oh, that's like really neat. Like, simple. Anyway, so as an adult, you can, an adult who wants to be a kid, you can still wear pin tucks.
I didn't say hello to you when you arrived earlier.
No, that's okay.
So yes, your pin tucks can be used as a method of controlling fullness, and then have the garment sort of blossom out below the pin tucks. Okay, right, ladies. So I am going to spotlight myself here, if it will let me do that. Yes. All right. So I am now at my machine, and there is that funny little tongue. Actually, we called it a Pintuck tongue, is what it was called at FAF. And you'll see there is a hole there on my needle plate, and this little tongue fits into there. It's got like a little button on the bottom of it, and that's what you put there to make your Pintuck. But I'm actually not going to use that. I am going to just lift it out with my scissors and put it back in my box here. And I have got some rather nice fabric here. It's got a very pretty little snail and a scallopy edge. This lace was, cost an arm and a leg when I bought it. It's Swiss embroidered lace. And that's almost like trying to find hen's teeth now. It's very, very hard to find that kind of lace. So I've got a little bit left over from when I taught heirloom sewing some years back. And I'm going to use that as a sample today. Now, I want to tell you about the thread that I'm using. All right, we've got the Pintuck foot on the machine. And I'm not using that little red blade, but what I am going to use is I'm going to use the toothpick trick. So I am going to position my toothpick in the middle of my Pintuck foot. It may not look as though it's in the middle with you because the camera is coming at a slight angle. And all I've done is I've just taped it down onto the machine. And I will tell you that I went and got a kebab stick from my kitchen, which is a bit thicker. And I thought, oh, well, let me try the kebab stick and I'll do exactly the same thing with a broken piece. It makes absolutely no difference at all. So I'm sticking with a toothpick and I'm not destroying any more of my kebab sticks from the kitchen. So that's as regards how you get a more pronounced or obvious Pintuck. All right, and I will show you that in a minute. And then what thread do you use when you're doing heirloom sewing on very soft, thin, sheer fabric? And the fabric, the thread that I have used for many years, let me get it so that you can see it in the camera, is a thread called DMC. It is 100% cotton thread, and it is super fine. It is actually 100 weight thread, which is actually the same weight as the wonderful Invisifil, their invisible thread. And you can't see it, but I have a similar thread on the top of the machine. And obviously, I've got 2 spools of it. I didn't have 2 spools of this pink. That's why I'm using the white on the top of the machine. And that's a different brand. That one is called Heirloom, and I'll just bring it off the top of the machine so you can see. It is called Heirloom thread, sewing thread, 100% fine cotton, and it is a YLI product, which is an American product. You probably would have to sort of hunt around a bit to find these threads. I don't have any for sale. I've just got the collection that I had for years since I started doing heirloom sewing back in South Africa before I even came to Canada. I've tried to do smocking and heirloom sewing classes here, but I think, you know, up here in Canada, we're not very frou-frou with lace and stuff like that. Down in Alabama, where I went for the course with Martha Pullen to learn all about heirloom sewing, man alive, that's what they wear when they go shopping in the supermarket, is all this frills and lace and pintucks and whatever. But we don't dress like that up here. So it doesn't really fly up here in Canada, but it is a beautiful, beautiful technique. And I know that I am going to be sewing more heirloom things because that is exactly what my daughter-in-law wants for her little girl. And my way to my daughter-in-law, to my granddaughter, is through my daughter-in-law. So I guess I'm going to be making lots of things. All right. So there's my toothpick. There is my fabric. And I will mention that I don't recommend that you starch your heirloom fabric before you do pintucks, because then the fabric might be too stiff to come up in a little tuck. So don't starch when you're doing pin tucks. However, some of those other techniques I showed you in the photographs on the PowerPoint, when you're doing laces, they're very delicate, very soft. I do recommend starching those, and not with Best Press. That's not got enough starch. It would need to be with a proper heirloom sewing starch, or a starch product that you bought at the supermarket, you know, laundry starch. Okay, or a starch made from your water-soluble stabilizer. That would work too. All right, and in my needle, may or may not be very obvious from where you're looking, but I have a twin needle. Now, you may or may not be aware that twin needles come in different sizes. This one is a very small little twin needle. It's only got, I think, 2 millimeters between the needles, and that's how you know what the size is of the twin needle. So they do go up to about 4 millimeters, and that's much wider. I prefer the narrower twin needles, and so that is why I have used the 2 millimeter twin needle. I will also tell you that when you are doing pin tucks, it's not going to work on a thick, stiff denim, all right, or a thick fabric. It just doesn't work. You have to have soft, thinner fabrics for pin tucks to get the best results for pin tucks. Right, so I think I've told you all about setting up the machine. It's just a straight stitch. Oh, I haven't told you at all. I have got 2 spools of thread on the top of the machine, and I'm just going to move the camera so you can see. Wondering if you can see with this light here. Yeah, that's a bit better. All right, I've got 1 on my spool stand, on my spool pin, and 1 in the machine. All right, because you're going to need 2 spools of thread. On my faff, and I don't think you can see this, I'm not even going to try, but on where I feed my thread through the tension discs, I have got a place to put the thread on one side and a place to put it on the other side. So that is what I did with my faff. My Janome doesn't have that. So what I then do is I just take the threads at the top and bring them down all the way as though they were one thread. And then when I get here, to this little spot just above the needle, I separate it because I've got 2 little clips here for my thread. And I put 1 to one side and 1 to the other side, and then thread through the needle. Unfortunately, twin needles have to be threaded by hand, even if your machine has a needle threader, because your needle threader is just going to go between the 2 needles. It doesn't work on a twin needle. All right. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to start stitching. I have got a regular straight stitch, but I am going to reduce my stitch length to about 1.5 or 2. Let's start actually on 2. The tighter your stitch length, the more your pin tuck is going to get pronounced and go upwards. So let me start stitching. Oh, by the way, that toothpick shouldn't be under the needle. It should be just this side towards you from the needle. Okay, because you don't want the needles to be hitting that toothpick. So there we go.
Liz, quick question. Yeah. Is that toothpick under the foot, but not as far forward as the needle, or like?
It's actually the point of it is going under the foot. But
okay.
I made sure that it stopped before the needle plate opening, where the needle's going to go.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
And I'm riding it down that toothpick. And the toothpick stays where it is. There you can see the toothpicks there. And I'm coming all the way down to the end of my fabric. And then I'm going to take it out and trim my threads. And of course, I've got 3 threads to trim. And I'm just going to trim them on the other side because we're going to have a whole lot of threads hanging around just now. Do you see? There is my pin tuck. And it has formed really quite nicely with that toothpick. However, I'm going to take the toothpick away now and stick it over here on the side of my machine. And I'm going to show you what happens when you don't have that toothpick. Sometimes it's important to have it. Sometimes it really, on such a lovely soft sheer, this is actually batiste. If you know the fabric batiste, it's like a lawn cotton. It's very fine and sheer. And well, not totally sheer, but reasonably sheer. Now, you will remember that I showed you that there were grooves on the back of the pin tuck foot. So I'm going to take the smaller of my Janome ones, and I'm going to show you that that's where we stitched the pin tuck. It was right in the middle with the twin needles. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my fat pin tuck foot a couple of little notches or grooves away from where I sewed, so that I make another pin tuck perfectly parallel to the one I just sewed. So that was the one where I sewed earlier. And let me see if I can bring this even closer for you to see, very close. Sometimes my camera doesn't want to stay where it is, but I think that's a little better. That was where we stitched earlier. There's one groove there, and I've put the pin tuck that we've sewn already in the next groove. And now I am going to stitch along there. I don't need to worry about following that pin tuck. It kind of stays in that groove. It's very, very labor saving, this pin tuck foot. Yes, you can do pin tucks without this foot, but in all honesty, ladies, it's going to take you a lot longer, and I don't think you're going to be as happy with the results as you might have been. Sorry, my bobbin thread broke. My bobbin thread finished. That will be why. So let me just get another bobbin thread out. Your bobbin thread can be the same, very thin. Oh, I need a fat bobbin, not a Janome bobbin. That won't help me. They're different. Okay. So you can use the same thread as what you have in your needle, but quite frankly, that heirloom sewing thread is not, it's quite an expensive thread. So I just use a thinnish sewing thread or bobbin thread to in my bobbin. All right, and then I'm not winding a bobbin from the heirloom sewing thread. And of course, with all the shenanigans, one of my threads has come out of the needle. So let's just get that back into the needle, and my threads out to the back. And now here we have the second pin tuck. And I think you can see it's not nearly as pronounced as that first one. You with me? All right, so you've got a couple of things you can do if you want to make that more pronounced. Oh, I'll tell you why. It's only one thread. Let's try that one again. All right, so I think what I'll do is I will sew down here. So my bobbin thread obviously ran out almost before I started stitching. So I'm going to put that in that groove, that same groove I told you, and I'm going to sew now. Is it sewing? No. What the hang is happening? It always happens like this, doesn't it, ladies? When you're showing something to somebody, threads break and things go wrong. But when you're sitting quietly by yourself, everything is 100% perfect. I'd like to know which of Murphy's laws that one is. All right, so let's see if we can get it going now.
In a way, Liz, it's comforting to know the experts have the same things happen that we do in our own sewing rooms.
Absolutely.
It's like, yay, she screws up too.
Something is definitely not behaving here.
Oh, I love the little snails. I didn't notice those. Those are cute.
Oh, yes, they are cute, aren't they? All right, so I'm not going to take up all our time showing you this when my machine is not behaving. I will show you that it was behaving earlier. So here is my little sample that I sewed earlier. And you can see here is 2 pin tucks, and I did them in adjacent grooves. I think those are too close. I mean, it might be that's the effect you want to get on something, but to my way of thinking, I prefer them to be slightly apart. So the next two, and let's see if I can get it in the camera nicely, between my two thumbnails, those two are separated by one groove. So they're about, somewhere between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch apart. And I like that. That one had two grooves between those two. And then I want to show you something else, and I'm hoping that you will see it. Let me bring the camera up. So it's away from the light of the machine. Can you see that this pin tuck here is a slightly different color? Can you see that? Okay, it's pink.
I was going to say, it looks like a light pink.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And how I did that, and I'm going to show you at the machine. We may not sew, but I'm going to show you how I did it. You don't need fancy equipment. So let's get this back to so that you can see at the machine. All right. I went and got a straw from my kitchen, and I cut a piece off it. And I have these little cards of, I have no clue where I got it from, but I will show it to you in a moment. I am just going to use my piece of tape to put this tube or straw down on my machine. All right. And this I have threaded through the straw, and it's going to make me shadow pin tucks. And it's like a very, very fine cord. I think it's a polyester, but I'm not sure. And I have it in a couple of colors, pale colors, because sort of historically, that's how we do heirloom sewing. There's no garish colors. I've never seen a black heirloom dress. Let's just put it that way. But now what you're going to do with your pin tuck foot and with this little thread coming underneath your fabric and you stitching your pin tuck, this is what you achieve over here. It's on this one here between my fingernails. Maybe you can see the pink a little better there. All right. Obviously, if you used a darker thread, that would show up more. And if you don't have this kind of cord, that's not a problem. Because if you have perlé cotton, do you know perlé cotton for embroidery? Let's say you had it in a darker pink. You could put that through your straw and stitch over it, and then the pin tuck would be a lot brighter in color. And then if we look on the back, that's what your pin, you can clearly see the pink there now. All right, encased in my little interlock stitch, which is what you get at the back of a twin needle stitching. Okay. So, ladies, any questions about pin tucks?
I have a question that's more about the machine.
Yes.
I've been sewing, well, for decades on an MC 9000.
Yes.
And at the beginning of the pandemic, I upgraded to an S9. So I've gone from a 7mm to a 9mm.
Yes.
I think I had every foot available for the 9000.
Yeah.
But what I did is I changed the ankle and put my 9000 ankle on my S9.
Yes.
And then I could use my feet.
Yes.
As long as I don't go over 7mm. Am I okay?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, you should be. I mean, we did not say that out loud.
No.
I was with Janome. However, I'm not with Janome anymore.
No, you're not.
Yes, they would not advise it because we know somebody's going to break their needle and probably break their foot because the pin tuck foot can be plastic. With Janome, it's not, it's metal.
No, mine's a metal foot.
But yes, if you put a post-it note on the machine, or you can remember what you know that you can't go bigger than 7, then I don't see there's any reason why you can't do that. Yeah.
Good.
The only thing that I see might be an issue is if needle position is slightly different. But if you've tried it and you're not having any problems, go ahead.
I haven't been. It's been great.
Good. There you go.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
in all honesty, there's also those universal ankles that you can buy and the universal feet, which some people sell in packages or individually. And I know they're a lot cheaper than the Janome or the Bernina or the Pfaff or whatever feet. I can't speak to their quality because I have not, gee, that's not a good idea. It started off very gray today and then it got quite sunny. So I don't want to be all glaring at you because the light comes in the window in front of me. So yeah, as I say, I can't tell from the quality, but I don't think there's any reason why you can't use your 7mm foot so long as you've got the adapter.
Yeah, I just took the ankle off the 9000.
Perfect. Any other questions about this? I mean, I'm not covering the whole of heirloom sewing today. But I was certainly going to touch on one aspect, which is pin tucks, which doesn't have to be an heirloom technique. It can be used for other things.
You know, Liz, I just wanted to comment that belonging to a group that does historical sewing, a friend of mine just recently did a petticoat that's part of an Edwardian costume she's making. And so she did pin tucks on her petticoat the hard way. You know, I haven't done pin tucks like that and had been kind of put off, but you know, seeing what you did, then I'm thinking, okay, I really want to make you know, a new chemise for myself, and you know, putting in some pin tucks and that sort of thing. It really would be quite fun.
Yes. I mean, just so that you know, ladies, if to do pin tucks the manual way, in the old days, they would fold the fabric over and stitch close to the edge of the fold. That's how they made them by hand. Now you can turn your fabric over and stitch very, very close to the edge. And then you've got to make sure all your lines are straight and you fold them exactly on your lines. This just takes it to a whole nother level. Much, much easier. Yes, Maury?
I was just going to say you've inspired me because years and years ago, it may have been on my 9,000 or my 10,000. I took a class to make an heirloom blouse.
Yes.
With entrelac and tucks and all of that kind of pin tucks and everything. And it's still in pieces in one of my boxes somewhere. So I'm going to have to get it out now and finish it.
Good. Excellent.
And you inspired me to take one out of the cupboard. I made this with Shirley Eichler.
Oh, yeah.
Probably 25 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
And it was a blouse. It was my blouse. And then obviously it doesn't fit me anymore. I'm 20 pounds heavier. But I can't remember how I attached the lace.
So do you want something more on that?
I'd like to know how to attach the lace pieces, because now I've got a 1-year-old granddaughter.
Yes.
Who's going to have this as the top of her dress.
Yes.
With white cotton at the bottom.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's called lace insertion, and I can very happily teach you that.
Yeah, and I know that there's panels in this that are embroidered on the machine stitches as well.
Yes, yes.
So, but I don't remember how I did it. It was like so many years ago.
No problem. I can happily teach you that. I won't do it next month, Anne. No. Sew with Liz next month because I'll have only just got back from South Africa. Well, I actually will be away in South Africa.
You'll be away.
Yes, but we'll be back in May. All right. So, ladies, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to my, let's just switch that off. And I'm going to switch back to sharing my screen, the PowerPoint, and we will move along with that. Of course, it's gone right back to the beginning. So let's just whip through it. All right, so there we saw the beads and the pin tucks. This is called ruffles, and there's also piping. So piping can also be a heirloom technique, especially if you use very, very fine cord. You can make what they call mini piping or baby piping. All right, so very quick, because this is not our lingerie support group, but many of us do sew bras here. The one on the left is my latest one, and you're seeing it in a picture because I'm wearing it today. And that is the orange lingerie Fenway bra. And you can see at the bottom here, it's my very first fully proper partial band bra that I've made. I love it. I honestly had no clue what to expect. I've heard lots of good things about orange lingerie patterns. The lady that does that, her name is Norma. And this here is sheer on the top. Anyway, I took it out, cut it out my size, sewed it up, and it fits perfectly. So I'm thrilled about that. There will be more Fenways in my life. And then this one here, of course, is the Sahara bra, which I think some of you might have seen on social media already. Here are some more of the recent makes. The one in the middle is not mine. When I went to the quilting retreat last week, there were a couple of people there who were very, very beginner sewers. The one lady works with a friend of mine, and she's had a very, very old machine, but she has not ever sewn. And she made this little humbug bag, and oh my goodness, she was going around the room showing everybody her humbug bag. She was so thrilled. So I taught a couple of them how to do that, and other people taught them other things. So they had a blast, and I now definitely have caught the sewing bug. Now, what I also wanted to do, sorry, is I want to stop sharing that and share something else. If I can see it here. Oh, no, it's not. Maybe I have to go and do it here by Facebook and then share my Facebook. It doesn't hold there for very long for some reason. Okay, there we go. And now I'll go back to my PowerPoint or Zoom. Sorry. Let's go back to Zoom and share my screen. And is my Facebook there? Yay, it is. All right. So I thought a good way of looking at things that people have made is I'm going to go right up to the top. This is the Facebook group. And there is Sonia's post. Sonia, you've been having it's Laurie. Sorry, it's Laurie. She did the virtual retreat, and she's been sewing up a storm, so bras and whatever. And then here is Karen's top that she made. And chip in if you're here and you want to tell us something about them. What pattern is it, Karen? Do you know?
This is one I actually self-drafted using a t-shirt as a beginning point. And then I added dolman sleeves. Okay. And then I did, I don't know what it's called, the faux, the thing at the neckline, faux, whatever, fold over and yeah, whatever. And then I just did an embroidery on the corner. So I'm just sort of, I'm sort of playing and experimenting when I see something, say on Facebook or Pinterest or something that I like, instead of going and buying yet another pattern, I'm just dabbling in easy ways to alter this basic pattern to accomplish what I'm looking for. So I think a month ago or more, maybe I did the bomber jacket, same starting point. So it's just playing, learning. Certainly learn a lot doing these things, and it's kind of fun.
Okay, and then there's Anne's kitty bag that she was showing us earlier, and now of course she's made a second one. And this is Sonia's boob ham. I told everybody where to get a pattern for it. It's a free pattern from Porcelain. And this is a boob ham, so that when you're pressing your seams on the cup of your bra, you've got a lovely little shape that is just perfect for that. So well done, Sonia. I haven't even made one yet. And
I hadn't heard of them. I thought that was clever. I hadn't heard of them. And I thought, that's a boob ham. And then I realized what it was. I thought, that's brilliant.
Yes, yes. And then Diane posted just very recently as well about she's working on some swimwear for customers. And then Tracy showed this. She was pattern testing, It's a new pattern that hasn't come out yet. And she used a thick sweater knit, and she's made this coatigan, she calls it. And then we have Carol McKinnon made these slippers, and they look very comfy and very funky. And then was there any others? Oh, that was Sonia with her bra. That's what, it's a total twin of my bra. Mine looks exactly like that. And that was really cool. There's Sonia's post as well. And there's Anne's black bra. That one was the Freya, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It has a bit of spillage on the top.
Yeah.
Or is that the
Did
Frida?
you change the size?
That's the Frida. No, it's exactly the same size, and I made the same alterations to it.
Okay.
But the straps are fairly off to the side.
Okay.
So instead of it's more of an evening bra.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a partial band, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
was.
Now I decided that apparently it's quite easy, I'm told, to redraft it from the Freya to the Frida. So that's why I didn't buy the Frida. And I thought it's time I tried an orange lingerie, which is why I bought the Fenway. So it's good to know that the Frida works well too, and that you've seen. And this was Karen with her blouse again. And then this one that she made as well. Tell us a little bit about the neck, Karen. Was that an experiment?
Yeah, it was actually part of almost like a half cowl neck. It looked better on the pattern. Now the top is a little bit tight for me, that as you can see on the pattern thing, but the neckline, maybe it looks better on other people. It just didn't work for me at all. So I have a little bit of fabric left. So I'm going to take Liz's suggestion, take the collar off and see if I can redraft a fuller cowl neck. It might actually look a little bit better, but otherwise it's soft fabric that's going to be gifted to somebody else or something. I don't know.
And then we have this lovely wall hanging from Maury. That's really beautiful, Maury. Was it all in the hoop?
All the applique was in the hoop, yes.
Right.
In 4 chunks that were sewn together.
Right, so you've got a big hoop then.
Yes, I bought the 550E a couple of years ago, so it's got a fairly, but now each of those quarters was 2 hoopings.
Oh, it was?
One in the biggest hoop, and then you put the smaller hoop on and you have registration marks that you line it up. So it was a bit complicated, but
right.
I'm really pleased with it.
Perfectly. Wow.
Can I ask who the design was from? Because I just think it's beautiful.
I did post that. It's
I'll read your post. Okay.
It was a class at Snip and Stitch.
It was a class at Snip and Stitch, and it's a commercial pattern that you do normally, like a normal applique, but Donna digitized. She does a lot of the digitizing in the hoop stuff. So it was a quilt poetry, I think.
Yes,
it was called.
I remember you said that.
Yeah, quilt poetry, and then it's a strange name of the actual pattern, and it's a commercial pattern. You can buy it.
I'll look
and
for
then
it.
Karen has been madly busy with dog beds and totes. Tell us about it, Karen, with the totes.
Well, this is again for our local SPCA, but now it's because I'm sewing more than what they adopt on the Sunshine Coast. Both the pet beds and the bags are getting distributed across BC. But the market bags, they're just like reusable shopping bags, and the entire coast is banning the use of plastic. I'm not sure if other communities are doing that, but you won't find them in grocery stores, in anything. And many of the bags are provided by home sewers for the stores, so they don't have to have a further expense. So the SPCA is getting on that. So every time you buy something from the SPCA or adopt a pet, they go home with like a starter kit of supplies, and they go in a shopping tote, and they'll just be used by whoever gets them. So I made a whole bunch of variety of sizes because they weren't sure what they needed. Because if you get a gerbil from them, it's quite different than getting a large dog. So they need different sizes of things. But they were thrilled. I can't remember how many I gave them. I just like a bunch. And again, all of this is donated fabric. So people now are starting to give me bigger chunks of fabric, so I can actually make the tote bags out of 1 or maybe 2 pieces of fabric instead of sewing together little bits that was just driving me insane. So it's kind of fun. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. I think that's oh, there's Anne's lovely white Freya bra.
That one is super comfortable.
Yes.
Yes, that one is lovely.
I hope my husband is going to, excuse me 1 second. It's our gate and it's been giving us trouble. So maybe somebody's trying to come in. I think we saw Karen's bomber jacket, didn't we? Okay.
And then Liz,
yes,
I posted the tote bags and the book bags.
Oh,
there
yes.
you go.
It was the next one down. Right.
Okay.
Okay. So they're the book bags and the tote bags that Maury did. Oh, and there's Anne's lovely gold lace bra and matching panties. And I think that's it. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that and I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint.
You've got a busy and very productive group, Liz.
Yes, I know. I can barely keep up. All right. So now for our monthly draw, everybody who posted on the Facebook page, their name is in here per post. And what I've got for you today is a variety of things to choose from, and these are really nice things. The first one is a book published by the Country Bumpkin in Australia, the Australian people, and it's called Inspirations Baby. A lot of hand embroidery and beautiful baby things in that book. I think it's valued at somewhere $40–50. It's on my website. And then you can choose any of the Australian smocking magazines or Inspirations magazines. That's the embroidery, hand embroidery, not machine embroidery. You can choose any of them that are valued at $60 or less on my website, or you can pick any of my Smickety Smocks or Cherry Williams smocking patterns. Okay, so those are mostly for smocked garments, but whoever's name I draw, you get the choice of one of those things. How about that? Okay, so let's see who gets it today. And because of the time zone thing, I don't insist that the person has to be here. And it is Anne. You get it for your white lace panty. So you'll have to let me know what you want and I will ship it to you. All right. Let's go on to the congrats, by the way. Okay, and let's just see, where are we? What sewing techniques would you like me to cover? Please drop something in the Facebook group. I know we want to do more about like lace insertion, but what other things do you also want? I like to do that. No Sew with Liz Club in April, please, because do you need me? Okay, I am finishing. Just ask her to wait for a couple of minutes. All right, and then the next one then will be 17th of May at 4 p.m. Pacific, and I'll put the Zoom code and everything as usual. All right, and what's next? Let's just see what's the next slide. I think that's it. All right. So, ladies, any questions, anything you want to say? And by the way, I was trying to experiment with a green screen so that I could use my virtual background, which is a whole lot tidier than my sewing room. But sometimes it's not as easy to change. But
I think you need to have almost a fluorescent lime green in the background.
Yes. I mean, this is a very pale green. I did almost get. Oh, you know what? I have to show you a few things. Somebody's waiting for me to see me, but I'll zoom through it quickly. This is a piece of fabric, and let me spotlight myself. There we go. This is a piece of fabric that I picked up at Fab Cycle yesterday. And I said to her, how much is it? And she said, it's a scrap, take it. So it's not been sewn closed yet over there, but it's going to be an infinity scarf. And I've also discovered that when my sewing machine is in the way, things look funny. Just to mention to you, Karen and I were there yesterday at Fab Cycle, sorting and counting stuff. And oh, you know what? That background doesn't work. So let's switch it off before we have any more nonsense. Okay, choose my virtual background, go to none. All right. Okay, so these are the lime greens that I bought yesterday. The one is a very narrow little elastic with a sort of satiny edge, and this one is a plush elastic. And don't you think that looks much better with my lime green lace than that fluorescent straps that I used before? And then I bought more of this bright Duoplex, which is lovely for bras. And she came over to me and she said, Liz, I've got this. Do you want it before it goes on sale? I said, yes, please. So it went in my basket. And then she's also got zippers. Look at these absolutely gorgeous silver and gold zippers. How much were they, Karen? $1.50 each?
I think so, yeah. I got one.
I don't know what you guys pay for zippers elsewhere, but these were, I mean, they're really pretty. They're crystal. Yeah, they're gorgeous. Yeah. So I bought some of those. And she also has a lot of this. It's a white lingerie fabric. And it's what I used for my Fenway bra, but the Fenway bra was cream. So she's got tons of this. And then I also bought something that I could not resist. Do you see how gauzy it is? It's a polyester fabric and it's so soft. I think I'm going to use that for sheer cup lining. So I want to try that for sheer cup lining. She's got tons of it. In fact, it wasn't even listed on the website. She's got a roll, like about a diameter of about 12 to 15-inch roll. So it's going to last her forever. Although she says all that elastic will be gone within a month. And there's lots of colors. So I believe she's launching it next week. Sometime next week or around the 20th something. So she said to me, if we want any elastic, we better go and buy quickly because it'll all be gone. And I'm going to make sure I do that. Oh, the other thing is I bought a roll of this and it is a sort of lovely soft apricot-y cream stretch pico elastic. And if anybody wants some, I don't even know how much is on here, but there's a ton. So I'm going to sell it in 5-meter lots. And it's only going to be 50 cents a meter. So $2.
How wide is it, Liz?
Let me tell you. It is 1/2 inch. All right, for panties and the neckline of bras. It's lovely and soft. It's not at all, it's not plush, but it's very soft. I don't think it would be scratchy at all. And sorry, I got the price wrong. 5 meters for $2. Okay, so if anybody wants any, let me know. It'll fit in a regular envelope. So yeah, I'll it won't be much to add. In fact, let's make it $3 for 5 meters and that's shipping included. Okay, how about that? All right, and then one last thing. She did have a huge big thing of fold over elastic. So I bought some cream fold over elastic. I know, Anne, you said you wanted to see what I'd found at Fab Cycle. So I thought I'd show you those things. Anybody got any questions before we end? Because I know I've kept you more than an hour.
Is that fold over elastic going on your website?
No, it isn't. But I'm thinking they can order it directly from Fab Cycle.
Okay.
And ladies, I'm more than happy, especially like Sonia. If you don't want to go into town, Sonia, you can order and tell me that Liz will pick it up. They know who Liz is. And then I'll bring it here and you can pick it up from me here in Surrey if that's easier for you. And the same for our social fabric. I'm more than happy to pick up parcels in town for people. And if you want, I don't think necessarily that my shipping is going to be any more expensive than their shipping. But if you want, I'm very happy to do that. Same for you, Diane.
Hello.
All right. So ladies, anything else that you want to say before I switch the recording off?